So, Hare Krishna devotees, welcome for ISKCON West outpost of ISKCON Seshadripuram for the Sunday evening feast program. This, most of you know, is a regular program happening in Rajarajeshwari Nagar. At the moment, we are doing it online, but generally we have it in person with many devotees joining us. Somehow, because of the pandemic, we continue to have it online. So, nonetheless, hopefully one day we can again meet in person, and then that's a different experience by itself. Altogether, the kind of the atmosphere in person is a much different one altogether. We have so many devotees joining, but then we have to make good with what we have, and everything is spiritual. So there's nothing like wanting even in whatever we do. So it's just that we are not able to sometimes reach out to many people who don't access the net and things like that. Anyway, so thank you. We'll all hope and pray that we can meet on in person also soon. So with that, we will continue with our verses from Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Currently, we have covered up to 5 points, chapter 5, 6th verse. So we have covered up to 6th verse in the Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Today we will take up 5.7. I'll read the verse. I will share the screen also. Okay. I'll chant the verse. Yogayukto vishuddhatma vijitatma jitendriyaha sarva bhutatma kurvan apina lipyate. Yogayukto vishuddhatma vijitatma jitendriyaha sarva bhutatma kurvan apina lipyate. Yoga Yukto vishuddhatma vijitatma jitendriyaha sarva bhutatma kurvan apina lipyate. Word to word translation. Yoga yuktaha, engaged in devotional service. Vishuddha atma, a purified soul. Vijita atma, self-control. Jita indriyaha, having conquered the senses. Sarva bhuta, to all living entities. Atma bhuta atma, compassionate. Kurvan api, although engaged in work. Never. Lipyate is entangled. Translation. One who works in devotion, who is a pure soul and who controls his mind and senses, is dear to everyone, and everyone is dear to him. Though always working, such a man is never entangled. I'll read again. One who works in devotion, who is a pure soul and who controls his mind and senses, is dear to everyone, and everyone is dear to him. Though always working, such a man is never entangled. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. One who's on the path of liberation by Krishna consciousness is very dear to every living being, and every living being is dear to him. This is due to his Krishna consciousness. Such a person cannot think of any living being as separate from Krishna. Just as the leaves and branches of a tree are not separate from the tree. He knows very well that by pouring water onto the root of the tree, the water will be distributed to all the leaves and the branches. Or by supplying food to the stomach, the energy is automatically distributed throughout the body. Because one who works in Krishna consciousness is servant to all, he is very dear to everyone. And because everyone is satisfied by his work, he is pure in consciousness. Because he is pure in consciousness, his mind is completely controlled. And because his mind is controlled, his senses are also controlled. Because his mind is always fixed on Krishna, there is no chance of his being deviated from Krishna. Nor is there a chance that he will engage his senses in matters other than the service of the Lord. He does not like to hear anything except topics relating to Krishna. He does not like to eat anything which is not offered to Krishna. And he does not wish to go anywhere if Krishna is not involved. Therefore, his senses are controlled. A man of controlled senses cannot be offensive to anyone. One may ask, why then was Arjuna offensive in battle to others? Wasn't he in Krishna consciousness? Arjuna was only superficially offensive because, within bracket, as has already been explained in the second chapter, all the assembled persons on the battlefield would continue to live individually as the soul cannot be slain. So, spiritually, no one was killed on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Only their dresses were changed by the order of Krishna, who was personally present. Therefore, Arjuna, while fighting on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, was not really fighting at all. He was simply carrying out the orders of Krishna in full Krishna consciousness. Such a person is never entangled in the reactions of work. ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवम् साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेशा गोपिका कान्ता राधा कान्ता नमोऽस्तुते। तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी ऋषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभयेव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्णा चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधरा श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। नमः ओं विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य वेशकारिणे। नमः ओं विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते जयपताक स्वामिनिति नामिने नमः आचार्य पादाय निताय कृपा प्रदायिने गौरकथा दामदाय नगरग्रामतारिणे। So we are in this fifth chapter of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, which is called Karma Yoga, Action in Krishna Consciousness. So action in Krishna Consciousness. In this, we started off by Arjuna asking this question to Krishna, that you said renunciation is better, then you said knowledge is better, but now you are asking me to fight. So you please tell me decisively which is better. Is renunciation better or knowledge is better, or should I simply engage? When he said fight, he is basically saying engage in a service which is directly aligned to me. Basically, this is Krishna's desire that he wants him to fight, that is Arjuna to fight. So engaging, Arjuna looks at it as an engaging himself in an activity. So you tell me clearly which is better. So this whole discussion started with this concept, around the fifth chapter, where Krishna is now trying to explain about action in Krishna consciousness, karma yoga, action in Krishna consciousness. So while Krishna now he started off by saying, yes, both are actually good. Both the personality of Godhead replied, the renunciation of work and work in devotion are both good for liberation. Renunciation of work and work in devotion are both good for liberation. But of the two, work in devotional service is better than renunciation of work. But he gives that kind of a clarity as well. He says, but of the two, work in devotional service is better than renunciation of work. So he gives him a direct answer. Work in devotional service is better than renunciation of work. Then he says, he is trying to talk about how what is actually defined as a renunciation. It is not simply someone who is completely stopped working. He is trying to say is the more clarity on what exactly is also meant as renunciation, where he is saying, one who neither hates nor desires the fruit of his activities is known to be always renounced. So he is giving a different renunciation. Arjuna's understanding of renunciation is simply sit quietly, don't have to do anything. Why are you engaged in any kind of action? Action means you are not renounced. This is his understanding. So Krishna gives, but one who performs this activity but who neither hates nor desires, he is also renounced. So he is bringing him to that platform of dispelling his doubt, not totally frightening him. He is trying to say, yes, renunciation is good. It is also equivalent to devotion, and also gives a slightly different. So you bring him step by step, slowly to the understanding, right? If you suddenly give high principles of mathematics, a child will not understand. So you need to give step by step. So when he is having this mood, you tell him, yes, that is fine. Then he say, actually, working without attachment is also renunciation. So give a slightly different meaning to the word. What he believes in renunciation is better. So give him that little bit of a accepting, first acknowledging. This is also science. This is also it's beautiful psychology. This is beautiful. Last week also I touched upon this, right? When you are in communication, how do you communicate? When you are having a discussion with people, if you immediately put in a counter, even though your intent is to actually give a counter to him, it is shocking to the person. He will never be able to take it, right? So you draw him slowly, step by step. So first you say, yes, you are right. Then you say, actually, you also know this is also having the same meaning. Then he slowly gets drawn into it, right? It's not like, you are sudden. Otherwise, he is blocked. He feels blocked. Hey, no. Why this fellow is trying to give a opposite view of what I am thinking is the correct one. So he will straight away block you, whatever nice pointers you give him. So he says, yes. The minute you say yes, he starts thinking, yeah, he's in my side. Then he's open to listening to you. Then you give him a little bit more clarity. Whatever you're saying, right? But this is also that only, that way. He brings him slowly closer to that point. Then he says, in more reiteration he gives in the fourth where he says, only the ignorant speak of devotional service, karma yoga, as being different from analytical study of the material world. That means he's now bringing in knowledge. He's saying, but some people say this devotion is different, knowledge is different. Actually, both are one. He's now trying to say knowledge is also the same. So he's trying to keep him in the same platform, not agitate his mind, because he's thinking maybe that is better. So he's trying to say, knowledge is also better, renunciation is also better. All are same. If someone is saying it's all different, he is a fool. Now Arjuna becomes very comfortable. Yeah. So he's slightly bringing him, but then he gives the clarity later. See, material world, Sankhya. Those who are actually learned say that he who applies himself well to one of these paths achieve the results of both. So both are fine. You can either work on that platform or you can work on that platform. No problem. So Arjuna is more and more becoming comfortable. He's got one more understanding of what renunciation is already also. And he's also telling him, yeah, knowledge is also good, all three are fine, it's okay. Then he says, one who knows the position reached by means of analytical study can also be attained by devotional service, and who therefore see analytical study and devotional service to be on the same level, sees things as they are. So now he is given two verses for renunciation to say Bhakti Yoga is equivalent to renunciation. So he gave a different meaning to renunciation by saying action without attachment is also renunciation. Then he gave knowledge is also same as these two. Then he gives one more explanation to knowledge to say here that one who has reached this position of through analytical study or through this are also the same. That means one who's reached through devotional service is also same as one who's reached through analytical study. That means knowledge. So he is now bringing in devotional service more closer to knowledge also. So now he is slightly elevating. Then he will give the final punch. To elevate devotional service more than knowledge and renunciation. You will see the next verse. Merely renouncing all activities, yet not engaging in devotional service of the Lord cannot make one happy. First he equated, and then he said this devotional service he gave him, brought it equivalent to renunciation, brought it equivalent to education, means knowledge. Then he says, but there is something more to it than just those. He's adding one word where he's saying, but just doing things in an announced way will not give you happiness. See, very logical. Then if you start thinking, yes, you simply sit. How many times, we say, right, those in the renounced mood of, philosophical thinking, they will say, we will perform upavasa, right? I will not eat this. It's tempting you so much. But you are, just because you have taken a vow that you will not eat it, it is just that, nothing more beyond it. Right? If you, for example, if you say you stop smoking, for the heck of stopping smoking, I will try to stop smoking, okay, you try. Someday, sooner or later, you may get drawn to that because there is nothing beyond that, right? Okay, I have to stop smoking. Fine, so what here? Right? You try, because there is nothing beyond that. But then if there is someone who's very loving to you and he or she says, please don't smoke for me, no. Right? Then this person stops smoking more in relation to that person, then he actually finds happiness. It is not dry anymore, right? He is able to relate to that love of the other person and easily able to restrain his senses. Now that renunciation has got a wonderful meaning now. The same thing when we are doing all our renunciation or our austerity, we are keeping Krishna in the center. Then, oh, you loved eating so many nice things on Ekadasi day. Because now if you are simply renounced, you will feel, oh, I should not eat. That's all. There's nothing beyond that. I should not eat. It becomes vairagya. I should not. But then if you add Krishna to that and say, I am doing this for Krishna. Right? Then the love for Krishna actually overtakes all of this and then you never feel attracted towards giving up that, or rather giving up the renunciation of eating that stuff. Okay, no, Ekadasi I don't eat. I'm never feeling tempted. But generally if you are only renounced, you will feel tempted. It's very clearly there. So Krishna is bringing that thing, there's some element of personal touch to the whole thing, which is what is personalism of our Vaishnava tradition. It is not impersonalism where everything is considered, void, maya. No, it is all very, very rasa, very beautiful relationship. Sometimes whatever we do, it's not about just for the heck of doing it, but there's so much of connection to something which is very, very transcendental. That's the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But a thoughtful person engaged in devotional service can achieve the Supreme without delay. And he's also giving one more. Okay, he can be happy. Does it stop there? He's saying, but a thoughtful person engaged in devotional service can achieve the Supreme without delay. That means one who is taking to the path of jnana and renunciation, they will take more time. You understand? Why is Krishna using this two? He is giving two advantages over those two. First, equating, saying this is also, that means devotional service is also that. Then he's elevating devotional service and giving two reasons. One is you will be happy. Second is, but this path is also very fast. It's all the same, but this path is very fast. You see, very subtly, but at the same time, very clearly. It is not Prabhupada who's giving some translation that, people have to, or he's brainwashing or anything like that. It's Krishna's words. Krishna's words, which is clearly saying that, it gives two advantages. Devotional service, you are happy. And second, it gives you a very, very fast approach to the self-realization process. So that was given in the 6th verse. And then Prabhupada in that verse very beautifully gave the, very many things which last week our Achyuta Prabhu tabulated beautifully and talked about it. Now going forward, right? Now we are going forward into the 7th verse. What is the result of one who is in that kind of a devotion? What is the result of a person who is in that devotional state, who achieves perfection? It talks about this. One who works in devotion, who is a pure soul and who controls his mind and senses, is dear to everyone, and everyone is dear to him. Though always working, such a man is never entangled. So he is actually bringing him to that platform of, therefore, he will be in activity all the time. One who's actually in devotional service means he's in activity all the time. That's his, he wants to punch that. Though always working, such a man is never entangled. Therefore, he's trying to say you have to work. He's trying to say that very clearly. But he's never entangled, he says that. Then he gives some wonderful qualifications of such a person who's already attained that state. He says, one who works in devotion, who is a pure soul and who controls his mind and senses, is dear to everyone. So such a person who is a pure soul, what has he achieved? He's achieved the understanding that I am part and parcel of Krishna. Over. Right? That's the end goal. I am part and parcel of the whole, and my job is to cooperate with the whole. Last week I again gave this example. If you are part of a machine, you simply cooperate, right? There's no difference between a tire and a steering wheel. Someone may think, a tire is not useful, but only a steering wheel is very useful. You have all the controls in the steering wheel, wonderful. Everything is there in the steering wheel, right? So it's sitting inside the air conditioner, everything. But the wheel is out there on the dust and the heat and the all the impurities. It has to go over so many of these things. But then both are part of the same machine. If there is no wheel, what is the use of having the best of steering wheels? You see that the difference is always there. But then, if the steering wheel continues to think I am doing a very lousy job, the tire thinks I am doing a lousy job, then it's in a messy situation. But if it really enjoys doing what it is doing, right, then it is in sync with the whole machine, like that. Now, our role also, being part and parcel of Krishna, is that we have a role to play, and we play that role without any kind of aversions or attachment. So that's very important. He's here, this verse is talking about such a person, what is his state? He says, right, who is a pure soul and who controls his mind and senses, is dear to everyone. So, dear to everyone means, naturally, someone who looks at everybody as himself. That's what is the meaning, right? Who looks at, because he sees I am part and parcel of Krishna. Therefore, he also sees everything around him as part and parcel of Krishna. He is not keeping himself within this. We again discussed this, that I am within this 5 feet, 6 feet, 7 feet body. And I look at everything as apart from this. But a person who is actually a pure soul, who lives in this consciousness that I am a part and parcel of the Supreme, I am not this body. Now for him, the thinking is, yes, I completely understand every other soul is also part and parcel of that Supreme, and we are all homogeneous. There is nothing different. We are all the same. You are white, you are black, you are whatever. You are man, you are woman, you are educated, you are not educated, you are dog, no problem. He will have the same uh, vision towards everybody. And naturally, for such a person, everybody also, see, it's all about, uh, you know, when you give love to someone, right, what happens? The person reciprocates. Is it not? That, you see someone, you say, oh, this person is suffering, he seems to be very hungry, let me give him some food. Naturally, that person immediately reciprocates and says, thank you very much, may God bless you. But if you don't reciprocate, give anything to that person, he will just walk away without thinking. Sometimes he may think, oh, this fellow is such a wretched person, he's not able to see that I'm hungry, he's not able to give. So it can happen. But that person who gave some little love to the other person immediately responds with a positive energy. A pure soul actually keeps giving love to everyone. He does not look for getting it back. He just gives. Because he is under the impression that everything is part and parcel of the Lord. So my job is simply to harmoniously look at everybody. Okay, but then why is that person not reacting? Then, so many times we say, no, but then, yeah, I'm fine. But then if that person doesn't reciprocate, why should I do it? So many times these things happen, right? Oh, but then why should I provoke? What is the need for me to do? Does it not happen to all of us? Yeah, it's all nice. I try to reciprocate, but I try to show love to the other person, but the person is not reciprocating. Why should I bother? Now we need to understand. Sometimes, when pure devotees are there, you will also see people are against them. It has happened on many cases. If you look at Ramacharya Haridas Thakur. Ramacharya Haridas Thakur was a Mohammedan, was a Muslim, and he took up, is none other than Lord Brahma. We all know that, right? Ramacharya Haridas Thakur is none other than Lord Brahma, because he offended Krishna in that pastime where he stole all the cowherd boys and the calves, and then Krishna gave him a lesson that, don't think you are so great. You can steal, but I will manifest myself as the different children, different calves, and nothing happens. You can go and keep them wherever you want. It doesn't matter. I will manage the show. So when he did this, and 1 year in Brahma's time, 1 year happened. Brahma's time, 1 second happened. He stole him for a minute or so in his time. But in our planetary system, it became 1 year. And in all of that 1 year, Krishna was manifesting himself as different cowherd boys and the different cows, and their mothers were not able to differentiate, this is not my son or the daughter. I mean, from a cow's perspective, cow never thought that this is someone else. It was Krishna, and they were showing more love to that calf than their original calf, because it was Krishna's thing was there. They were able to feed Krishna. There are so many things happening that cow would never realize. The same thing with the Gopas also. They were giving more affection to their children suddenly than what they were giving earlier to their children. So that was happening. So the point is, then Brahma suddenly realized, I have offended Krishna. When after 1 year, when he realized that, then he stands up and then he comes and sees what is all this happening. Then he realizes this person is not an ordinary person. That time Krishna shows him, actually, I am the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And you are such an insignificant person. There are hundreds and thousands of Brahmas who are also controlling. You are just a small controller. There are so many other hundreds of controllers. You are nothing. Then Brahma felt, it's very, it's a big offense that I have committed. So when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appearance was happening, he went and requested, oh my Lord, give me a chance so that I can actually become humble and serve you nicely. Because of my mamata or whatever greed, or because of my headiness, I did that. Now I want to be in a very humble state of mind. Please put me in that condition or give me some service like that. He said, okay, you come. You be born in a family of a Mohammedan. I mean, in those times, the Mohammedan was not considered very so like that. Okay, it's not that it's nothing to do with religion, that way, but it sometimes social what it was like that. So to give that experience, he came and he was born in a family of a Mohammedan. So Brahma is now some Mohammedan person in our eyes. Now he was simply chanting Harinam Sankirtan like 24/7. He will be chanting, I don't know, some 23 hours like that in a day, every day. It's not like one day or 2 days, every day he used to be chanting like that. And the priestly class actually were very envious of him, and then they actually gave him so much of trouble. They used to they priestly class from the Mohammedan community. They were saying this fellow is now taking to this Hinduism or whatever they Sanatana Dharma whatever. So we should actually give him trouble, so they started taking him to the king's court, and priestly class they can twist. They were saying he's doing everything is wrong, therefore he should be punished. So he was taken and given what you call it, whipped in many marketplaces. In many marketplaces he was whipped. Therefore, why should a person who's pure, who's equal to all, actually get this kind of a? But here it is said everybody loves him. Krishna says it, but then why is that people are not loving him? Why are they giving him whipping? Why are they whipping him in the marketplace like that? Okay, that will always be there, because after all, who are the those who are not able to understand God, or even those who have understood God, but why are they here? Other than the pure souls, those who realized later, they are here, but those who are not realized later, who realized later, why are they here in the first place? Because they are envious of Krishna. Is it not? They did not want to accept Krishna's authority. Now, when this person has become a representative of Krishna, we show the same hate towards such persons. That is why we hate great personalities. Great personalities means not the great sportsman, not the great. I'm not talking of that personality. I'm talking about a pure soul of the pure soul, who's a realized person. Why we hate them is because we are envious. We are envious of Krishna. We are envious of his representatives. So we are actually hating them. So that's why these things. Prabhupada has said, now that you are become a devotee and you are preaching, you will find many obstacles in your preaching activities. There are many. Even Prabhupada faced many difficulties during his preaching. But how do they look at it? So that means did Ramacharya Shri Thakur look at these souls as people who are bad, or who are my enemies? He never looked at it like that. Those who are whipping him, he never looked at him as enemies. This is actual fact. It's not like okay, that instance happened that when he was being whipped, actually he was praying in his mind, oh, these people are doing it in ignorance, oh my Lord, please forgive them. This was his mood. We also know of Lord Jesus Christ. So Jesus Christ was none other than the Son of God, Krishna's son, right? I have explained earlier also that word Christ, Jesus Christ, right? Christ is the Father. He propagated that my Father is Christ, who is the Supreme Lord. Christ is none other than Christo in another language, and Christo is none other than Krishna. So this is that. So he is Son of God, and he never cursed and troubled when people crucified Lord Jesus Christ. He was equal to them, and he was also praying, oh, don't trouble them. Don't trouble them. They are doing it out of ignorance, like that. If he had wanted, he could have actually cursed them. He could have put them in abominable position very easily. Same thing with our Namacharya Shri Thakur. If he had wanted, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will tolerate all nonsense to him, but he will not tolerate any nonsense to his devotee. That Namacharya knew that. Oh, these fellows are beating me. Oh, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, please. Means that's all. When Vishnu Chakra will come, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu doesn't care whether he is here with weapon or not weapon. He doesn't care. I will not use weapon. He will not care. He will say, I will use it because I want to protect my devotees. But his mood was, no, these people are working, acting out of ignorance. So the pure devotees of the soul look at it as something like done by children who are very immature. We do this with our children, right? How many times have we seen when you are like trying tell some good things to your children? I have seen even yesterday, day before, couple of days back also, I was seeing young children, they get angry and start beating the parents. Have we seen that? Or our own children, how many times when they, particularly when they are very young, they get angry and start, it may not pain to us much, but that action is actually beating us, right? And do we get angry for that? We don't, right? We um, you know, yeah, we may get angry to discipline them, that's different. But then we don't take it to heart and say, hey, this is my enemy, he's beating me, right? We never do that with any of our children. The same thing, such realized people look at it that way. These people, however, they may be grayed hair or they may be very whatever, but they don't look at that in that way. So they are simply looking at it as, okay, these are children, they don't know, they are acting in ignorance. So they are very peaceful. They take it and they know that, this is the mercy of the Lord. This is how they look at it. This is the mercy of the Lord. See, okay, this is all nice. How about me in our practical terms? We can also do all these things. Sometimes, you can do it in small ways, in different ways. Start with your children, for example, right? Sometimes we also see with our children, um, we get too very angry. Can we look at it with a little more from a okay, it's all, how do I deal with the child? Not rather getting too passionate and start getting, can we do something like that, right? See, there is two things here. That doesn't mean you should not get angry with your child. I'm not saying that. But what is the getting angry is an externally how you show it, but internally you should be, your objective should be to actually bring the child to the proper consciousness. That's how it is. When we deal, right, it has, Prabhupada has demonstrated it also. I had also shared it earlier. I don't know, most of you would have heard it, but I think Prabhupada always chastises all his disciples who are getting late. So, when you come from some country to another country, there is, time saving may be there, and then, you will have to get up. You would have started off at 8 p.m. in another country, but you will land up around 3 o'clock in the morning in this country, wherever. So in the travel time, maybe 1 hour or whatever, and then 4 o'clock will become quickly, right? So, but then Prabhupada will get up, and those devotees will think, no, I have to sleep 7 hours or 6 hours, whatever. They will think, what is this, you guys? 4 o'clock means 4 o'clock, get up, right? So he chastised the devotees. So they all, felt, oh, Prabhupada has actually, chastised us, and someone felt very, oh, Prabhupada. But he didn't look at it negatively, but he thought, oh, my spiritual master became angry with me, so I have to please him like that. That is a nice way of thinking, rather than, oh, my spiritual master got angry with me, to hell with him. If we think like that. But he looked at it as, oh, the spiritual master got angry, I have done something wrong which hurt him so much, so I should go and, please him like that. So he finally looked at a very nice occasion, how I can, one fine day, one fine moment he saw when Prabhupada was smiling, he went and gave him a nice flower and said, Prabhupada, sorry, you were upset with me, you were angry with me, something like that. Said, what angry? I'm never angry with you. I will never get angry with any of you. So this was Prabhupada's words. He said, but then I need to externally manifest certain emotions so that, it corrects you like that. So that way, if our mood is to correct like that, but we are not personally looking at that child or whoever, sometimes it may be with our employees or with our, it happens in life. We deal with so many things, sometimes with our neighbors. Don't take it deeply in our heart, but you may have to sometimes externally show like that. Sometimes if you are very soft or sharply exhibiting also, people don't understand it. They sit on your head. It happens. So then you are in trouble. Oh, Prabhu, you told me like that. But now that fellow is sitting on my head. So such people, you should use intelligence, maybe not show it so much like that, as so humble, but deal with them. But at the same time, don't judge them. Oh, this fellow is like that. Give them a good chance. Think that he's ignorant or he or she is maybe not up to the mark. We have to help him that way, in different ways. But the pure soul is actually thinking like that. These people are actually very ignorant. They are not understanding what is the position, their position. Therefore, they will be very merciful. So we can apply so many. I mean, that is with work and even otherwise, right? Sometimes as devotees, we always look at people in a very respectful manner. But in some circles, you may not get that respect, right? Um, simple, like if I look at nice kirtaniya, or if you look at someone doing some wonderful service in temples, they are respected. But if they go into their normal materialist circle, nobody bothers, right? They will start glorifying about some other singer. I see so many times, oh, this fellow sings so beautifully, this, that, and all that. But they may not be able to glorify, like, if you are a singer yourself, or, like that. Oh, what is this, like that? Because material people are material, So you should take it humbly. Oh, it's okay, that humility comes. Then we don't differentiate. Oh, these people have not recognized my talent, so let me. It makes you humble actually, but if you are able to take that, right, and keep go with that flow, not think that I am. These are practical things we can apply, but these things actually elevate us. Actually, if you see, you become happy. There is this wonderful verse in Bhagavad Gita only. Bhoktaram yajna tapasam sarvaloka maheswaram sugrutam sarva bhutanam nyatva mam shantim ruchati. Bhoktaram yajna tapasam sarvaloka maheswaram sugrutam sarva bhutanam. That's the word. Sugrutam sarva bhutanam nyatva. One who understands Krishna as the most biggest well-wisher of everyone, for him he is peaceful. So when we know, for us we have Krishna. He is the most, well-wisher of us. And everything happens because of his mercy. You take it that way, then everything is cool. No anxiety. We have seen many Maharajas demonstrate such behavior. Like Guru Maharaj, for example, if you see, he will be going in some flight somewhere. Just imagine when Guru Maharaj is there, how much respect and awe and reverence we all have when he is there. But some commoner will be thinking he will be sitting next to Guru Maharaj and say, hey, you, that way people talk to him. I mean, as though like he is some normal person and I know better than him kind of a mood. But if we only interact with our Guru Maharaj, we know how he is such a, I don't know, such a great personality. Some of us, when we go in front of him, we can't even speak. That is his stature. But someone who's just sitting in the flight, who is not having any consciousness of devotional life, he will look at him as a very ordinary person. But Guru Maharaj engages with him in a very, as though like a friend. Oh, you know who I am? I have 50,000 disciples and, people are all waiting to, do whatever, give their life also to me. But to him, he will talk to him like, and make jokes with him and things like that, So very amazing. It's not like, okay, he's doing it. After that, he may not even see him, actually. But he looks at it in that mood. What in this verse we say, who is a pure soul who controls his mind and senses is dear to everyone. And everyone is dear to him. And in many cases, there are examples where, when Guru Maharaj was in ICU, Guru Maharaj is in ICU, it's not one day, 2 days, months together. And he is seeing, in ICU, what do you see? Wonderful, happy unions are what you see in ICU. You see many separations. Many people leave their bodies in ICUs. So Guru Maharaj is seeing that. He is going through himself so much. And such generally, if you sit in an ICU for a day or two, you are completely demoralized. You are completely self-pity. Your confidence has gone. Right, you are looking for someone to give you a little bit of good words, and these. All we would have seen people who are in ICU, how they are. But Guru Maharaj never had even. He will not ever say, okay, I am struggling like this, but he will look for everyone who is in the ICU and say, how I can help him in whatever ways, and right till the time of death also, he will say, okay, bring one Shaligram Shila. Keep it in the head of this person who's going to leave tomorrow, kind of thing. So you keep Shaligram Shila right next to his head. He doesn't even know him because you are lying down in an ICU. You won't even know what is that person's name is, face is, nothing. You understand? But he knows that there is other people dying here. And the news says that there are people tell all that. So he has many times done that, get some Saligram Shila. He doesn't know whether the gender of the person, whatever, maybe gender he may know because someone would have told he is going to leave the body. He will leave for another 4 years, 2 hours, 3 hours, like that. But Guru Maharaj was never, now it should be like, that, I am worried about myself, why should I bother about that person? Or someone, I am 500 feet above him in my stature, but look at this fellow is just coming and sitting next to me and trying to talk to me as though I am his junior or something like that. Completely relaxed. He never shows. It is not just Guru Maharaj. There are so many of these realized pure souls who are like that. Many I have in our experience, we have seen many of Prabhupada disciples like that. Absolutely cool. I can talk of our Bhakti Vigna Vinasana Simha Swami Maharaj. Such a wonderful personality. I was driving him to Bhakti Sadan, sitting, the inauguration. He's coming with me. There are like more than 300, 400 people waiting. Yeah. So what do you want me to speak? He asked me, what do you want me to speak? I said, Maharaj, you know whatever you need to speak. Like that. And the kind of they think I know better because he knows, but then he's giving me importance to say you are organizing the whole stuff. Tell me what you want me to talk to these people. He knows how many congregations he has seen in his life. He knows he's inaugurating a small group. He knows what to speak, everything. But he's so simple. So this one, he came here to my house. And he did some kirtan, which was like he was crying for my father. Like, he did kirtan. My father was going through difficulties. And Maharaj sat there and he did his kirtan and he had tears in his eyes. And he did that nice, wonderful kirtan for my father. Right, So they are very pure, means they don't differentiate. And he has not known me before that. That's why I'm saying, like, someone new to him, I'm not his disciple. Right, why in that difficult time, why he should come to my place and all that. Okay, someone told him, I could have always said, no, I am very busy. I have this program, evening, I have to go there. I'm already 70 plus. Why are you troubling me? No. He said, I want to come, I will see. Yes. And so many times we have seen Guru Maharaj and all. You will always see when Guru Maharaj is already in so much difficulties. Now the disciples will be very clear. They want to protect Guru Maharaj. They want to take him away so that he can take some rest. He can take his prasadam, everything. But Guru Maharaj, be it the president or some big functionary in the organized in ISKCON or anywhere, but someone is as simple as a small child going, he will not shoo anybody away. He will give full attention to that person, whoever you are. In that point, this is what is real for me, Guru Maharaj's way of thinking. This is what is real. This is the person I am engaging with, and I will engage full-heartedly, 100%. Not, he's so junior, or what is it in it for me now? I won't care. Never that mood. So their mood is like that. They are actually well-wisher of everyone, who's very dear to everyone, and everyone is dear to him also. So by and large, if you see, most people will be favorable. Many of times, we have seen when such pure people come, people who don't even know, they will immediately take both their hands and bow down. Have you not seen? Not that sometimes you need to be in saffron, right? I mean, in our own experience, we would have seen somewhere we go, some 3 people are going, but someone who's very in a little spiritually developed, others will feel his presence there. You will see everybody's interaction with that person will be slightly different than how they interact with other people. By and large, you will see these things. This is subtle. You should observe. You will see. Sometimes when we are with such people, we can realize that also. There's a lot of energy around there. You can see that. So it is natural, right? When the Supreme Lord is there, everything will have to be in that presence. And when their representatives or someone who's close to him and they are there, how will that one? People naturally will get attracted. So very important. What is time now? 8:10. Okay. And see, there are a few things there. How you become a pure devotee, right? There are some things which we need to win over before that. It's not. Of course, we see there are few things. The first point is the lust. 6 items are there. First point is lust. Because of lust, anger develops. Okay? Because of lust, there's a sequence of verses in Bhagavad Gita. So because of lust, because of attachment, and because of that attachment and frustration, anger develops. This is one thing. Then what we are desiring when someone is having, we get envy. So lust, anger, envy is there. What is that next? Lust, anger, envy. Lust, anger, envy.
Kama, Krodha, Lobha.
Now the
Mada, Matsalya.
So lust, anger, envy. No. When you are in lust, you get something also, right? When you get something also, you are never satisfied. You are never satisfied. Either you don't get it, you get anger and envy. If you get, you are never satisfied. That is what? If you are never satisfied?
Lament?
No, you get it. You are not satisfied. So that is there. Now all of this put together is basically illusion. So these 6 items are there. Anger, pride. Okay, when you get it, you have pride. Okay, so that means lust, anger, envy, pride. Then one item I am missing. Last one is illusion. So we are supposed to win over all of these aspects in life. And this applies on a day-to-day thing. We are mostly angry, or we are envious, or we are in pride. Ultimately, everything is in illusion. So the illusion means that which is not. That means whatever we are running after is not the real thing. In ultimate analysis. So one who's yes, Prabhu.
That pride, envy, illusion, lust, anger, greed. Na Prabhu, 6th.
Correct. What is it that we miss?
Pride. One is pride. Second is envy.
We covered that.
Illusion, lust, anger, greed.
Lust, anger, greed. So we have covered everything. Greed we missed out. Greed I missed out. Greed I did not say. That's what I was hunting for. What is that word? Greed. Yeah, greed we can understand, right? Envy and greed are similar. I don't know if anyone Google what is the difference between envy and greed. Greed is wanting for more. Envy is, he is having it, I don't have it. Greed means more.
Yeah, correct, Prabhu.
Give me more. That's what I was saying. You will never be satisfied. I use that word, I didn't use the word greed. That, you have something, you will never stop. You keep on wanting more and more and more. That's greed. Right? Okay, greed, and then finally all of that is illusion. So a person who is actually pure is actually beyond all these things. So sometimes pure, we are all trying. We may, one qualification to call someone pure is actually is beyond these 6 elements. So we need to be mindful. We are all trying. So this is also there. Okay. See, this is very deep. It's more of a practical. Now it's only theory, but how can we apply it in real life in practicality? That's important. But when we do that, It's the simplest way of doing it is simply chant Hare Krishna. That's all. And then why you tell all the story, but you could have only told simply chant Hare Krishna. You know. Yeah, but people think, if you simply say chant Hare Krishna, they say, oh, these people don't know anything. So you give so many logic, so many, knowledge aspect to it to finally to say you simply do devotional service. So simply chant Hare Krishna. The name is very, very, very powerful. It can actually remove all these elements. 6 elements can go away from us, and this is very practical. These things are not some theory classes. These are all practical. The more we are able to do that, we can actually experience it in our personal life. In each one of us, we have experienced it in different levels. Okay, so I will finish here 8:16. If there are any comments, any questions, any other things which we want to share in relation to, this is more of a realization, right? Rather than some theoretical thing here. At least this particular verses very that way. So if you can, anybody want to share something, comment or add something to it, most welcome. Hare Krishna.
Bro, very nice, bro. Overall, it's very informative, and further we need to practice it if we are missing it on some other day-to-day practice.
Yeah, so, okay, let me come here. Whoever else wants to say anything, then we can have some little bit more elaboration. Anybody wants to add?
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Yes, Prabhu.
When you talked about the 6 sins, if I may, right? I definitely struggle with many people, right? Especially sometimes greed. Even we understand at some point of time, intellectually we understand it's all right. But when you see others in the rat race, somehow, I guess you get pulled into it again. We've tried being mindful and so on and so forth, but again, getting back into the rat race again and again.
Yes.
From personal experiences, or as a combined experience, do you see that when he said, as you get into devotional service, it automatically goes in? Does it? How does it really work?
Yeah. See, as I said, in whatever verses we are seeing, they are very clearly saying you have to act. Right? You have to act. Which means you will be in your role, whatever role you are doing, and when you are acting in that role, it has certain things that needs to be done. Like Krishna, for example, he said fight and kill. You understand? It's not a simple thing like, okay, you compile some small software for someone. It's like killing people. And it's not so easy to kill, right? So you have to act. When you act, there will be passion involved. Right? Will be there. But if you are having if you are clear in your head, why are you doing this? That's the point that I am trying to, or Krishna is trying to say. Are you doing this for your gratification, or are you doing this for the gratification of Krishna's senses? Simple. And it can actually happen in our life also. That means the more you are relating everything to yourself, the more you are taking it to heart. The more you are relating it to Krishna, you are doing that action, but you are not taking it to heart. But you will still do. Okay. Now, you asked my specific example, right? You asked, how do you see as you perform in that mood, while you chastise, you still don't judge people. You get me, right? But if you are taking it personally, you will judge people. then that is an enmity between you and that person all your life. But if you are doing it as an activity I'm doing for Krishna, you are not judging that person. You will chastise him, but next minute you will be nice to him. But do you see people like that? Generally you don't. They carry that, even high post people, a lot of them, they judge. They will say, no, this fellow don't, kind of a thing. Then that enmity will remain with that person all his life. But if you are able to say, I chastise him because this fellow is not up to the mark. But then you also understand that, he is another jiva who is also struggling in this material world. So how can I facilitate him? Then that person will become very happy. Even though you chastise him later, then you tell him, boss, what is happening? What's wrong with you? How can I help you? Right? Then that fellow will become very loyal to you. Of course, he cannot become a brilliant person the next day. Right? He is already a dad. That's why he is troubling you. But still, it's manageable. Both for you and for him.
I think when you were talking, I was going through an experience which probably happened very recently, or I'm just going through that one. We are sitting in a table of negotiation, right? And I know that I have certain motives or certain interests that I need to take care of, and I know the other person also has certain interests, and they're definitely opposite interests, right? Because you're sitting on the other side of the table. But I definitely found myself at one point, taking it very personally. When we've done this with different people and so on and so on, at this particular stage, right, I couldn't sleep at night. Saying, how could he make a comment like that? Or But when you're saying this, I kind of understand they have their own interests, right? They will. I don't think it's personal, but to somehow that digesting that thing and accepting the fact, it played around in my mind quite a bit. Right? So when you were giving those examples, I was trying to be mindful of it. Hopefully, I don't know, like you said, maybe chanting as we progress, it kind of puts a little bit of distance between this personalization.
Yes, that's why he says, Trinadapi Sunichene, Tarorapi Sagishtana, Amanina Manadenene, Kirtaniya Sadahari. Trinadapi Sunichena means lower than a blade of grass. Trinadapi Sunichena, Tarorapi Sagishtana, tolerating more than a tree. We don't know, a tree can take all kinds of, you can cut it also, it will give you shade, fruits, everything. Tarorapi Sagishtana, Amanina Manadenene, very important. Without expecting respect, you give respect. This is the point which you are struggling with, right? At that time, that fellow is completely opposed to me. He is not listening to me. I am also a so and so. Ramayana Manadenana Kirtaniya Sadahari. That means you engage in. This is more from a devotional perspective, but that mode is generally, right? Tomorrow that may, if you are little not, if you are also not losing his cool, that fellow will come over and tomorrow tell you, sorry boss, I was very emotional. I attacked you like that. I'm sorry. And there are sometimes even another technique which I will tell you, which I learned part of my course on dealing with what do you call what is that conflicts.
Difficult
conflicts. So when someone is coming and yelling at you, don't read the emotion. Never read the emotion. Ignore all the things which is saying in the emotion, but only look, try to, you can say, just look at what he is saying only, not the emotion. So sometimes, why you said, right, he's taking it, why would we take it personally? Because we are getting into every word that he used. But look at why he is saying rather than how he said it to you. Right? And if you don't lose your cool, that fellow will come over quickly. The minute we lose cool, it becomes more and more conflicting things develop. Because you sleep with that thing and then you are meditating on how can I, give it back to him, right? But then if you share some nice thing with him the next day, he will suddenly lose guard. This fellow, I attacked him so much yesterday, but here is so friendly to me today. He will come back. I mean, I'm not just giving something in the air also. I personally experienced this in my career also. People who have been very medical, but then if you just ignore that aspect and give yourself, they quickly turn around. It will not happen sometimes, 1 day, 2 day, sometimes over a month or 2 months, even sometimes a few more, but then it will happen.
Very nice.
I mean, I had personal experience. I can relate to you later some other time, because this is not for that one. But I'm saying the theory, that concept works.
Very nice. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna. Any other thoughts?
Prabhu, one thing here in this verse, I'm understanding, we have to service with a controlled mind and controlled body set.
Hmm.
So here again, controlled mind, that is, you can understand, it is quite impossible.
Yes.
That how we can be controlled.
Yes, controlled mind. So that we have seen very heavily in the second chapter, right? Mind is more stronger than the wind. Sometimes wind means it's not like a nice wind which is blowing. It is also the tornadoes which come, which can destroy cities. It's very powerful. Mind is like that. Mind is like that. But this is a state where one is actually won over. It talks about a pure soul who was already won over. But in reality, Krishna says, right, these things never stop. Right, Arjuna says also, it's very difficult to control the mind. How can I control the mind? It is stronger than a wind. Krishna accepts us. Yes, mind is stronger than the wind also. It's very fast. It is pop. Everything is there. But he says, he uses one particular word. He uses matparaha. Matparaha means if you are engaging everything in my, dovetailing it in my service, then that can be achieved. So, you have to dovetail it. You have to dovetail it. That's the technique. See, our Achyuta Prabhu did one drama maybe a year back or something. How to control the mind. Right, it's like one person with his mind is dealing with his mind very difficult. How to control the mind. But if the mind is engaged nicely in the service of the Lord, then that will become very tamed. It is very practical. So mind will always be obstinate. It's the biggest enemy. There's one verse in Bhagavad Gita will say, a mind can be your best friend or your worst enemy. I don't know. Surapalaka Prabhu, if you remember, you can quote that verse. It says, mind is either your best friend or your worst enemy. But how can you make it a best friend is actually dovetailing it in the service of the Lord. Again, that's why I'm saying Harinam is very powerful. Sometimes what we cannot achieve by all this lot of speculative thinking, you simply chant Hare Krishna, it will happen. That's why we have been given a very simple process. Not that, lot of talk is there. No. Simply chant Hare Krishna. It will bring everything under control. Chant and hear. Chant through the mouth and hear through the ears. It will control. Engagement, association with devotees. There are so many things which adds to that, right? This with that with that, like that. But it will happen. So, but my controlling the mind is a big session by itself, right? We can't do it in this one. But then it is clearly mentioned, if you dovetail it in the service of the Lord, then it becomes very tameable. That's there. You cannot fight the mind. Very difficult. But engage it, divert it. Divert it. So, for example, I have told this also earlier. There was this Kumbh Mela which was happening, right? There was one documentary. One Britisher was taking that documentary. And one day, all these saints in the Kumbh Mela. all these were completely, they will not wear dress, anything like that, they will be going. So this man was interviewing some of these yogis. So I was that one helped me very much when I heard that. That's very, very powerful statement I heard. And I've told many times to some of you, I don't know, many of you may have heard it, or all of you have heard it, I don't know. So this Englishman who was the BBC, what is that? BBC, right? English, British Broadcasting, BBC, right? So he was asking this question. For him, to abstain from sex is next to impossible. So he asked him, how are you actually able to be a celibate? This question he asked. Right? And he said, that man simply brushed it off and said, divert the mind. And he didn't dwell on that for longer. That saintly person who was saying, simple, divert the mind, he said. But then if you meditate on that word, it's very powerful. If you really look at it, if you divert the mind will keep on going after so many things. Divert the mind. This is from a yogi perspective. But as devotees, we understand divert means where can you divert? You put it into another nonsense. Right? I don't want to obsess with, relationship with the opposite sex. Then I will obsess with becoming a great singer. Right? Then these obsessions will keep on going in circles. We know clearly, dovetail it in service of Krishna. Then it becomes very powerful. Mind can be controlled. Divert it. Arya Prabhu, is it okay?
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay.
So like when the mind will be very much disturbed, or you are not able to take any decision, or you are in a confusion. So like you are telling, like better you don't think a lot on those parts. Better you chant one round in that time.
You
so
chant one round, read a couple of verses from Srimad Bhagavad Gita. You will even sometimes, most of the time you will get an answer also to what you are dealing with.
Yes, Prabhu.
You pick up a page, that page will answer your question also.
Yes, correct, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu.
Right.
Haridas Thakur, he was beaten up like whatever. So when they hit him, like they beat him up in 27 marketplaces, but he never died. So all the people who whipped him, like they were begging him, like you're still alive. Like if you don't die, the Nawab, like he's going to kill us. So out of compassion, he fell dead and he was practically dead. And then to show fact, they threw him into the Ganga river. And then in the Ganga river, he floated and he came back to consciousness later. So he was so compassionate, like not just forgive them, Lord. But
so he's also adding that point there, that story that we were citing. So he was beaten in the marketplace and he is not, because actually we can go further into the story. If you are flogged, like, in 27 marketplaces by very strong men, what will happen to you? Right? It's natural that we will succumb to it, right? Skin is all torn, at least minimum. 27 marketplaces, one after the other, you are taken and beaten with whip. This is real. This is not some mythology. This is real, happened 500 years back. History. So, but then what happened to this? Nothing happened to him. So then these fellows were saying, if you don't die now, we will lose our job, kind of a thing. So we will be killed also by the king. He will punish us like that. So he said, okay, I will die. He actually died. In the sense, died means in the eyes of everybody, he died. So they said, okay, he's dead now. Declared dead. Whatever you check his arm, declared dead. Now the king is convinced, okay, throw him into the Ganga. Then he floated and came back to life later. So neither was that person said you did not kill him. He killed him, but he came back like that. But actually, when he was flogged, the beating was taken by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So he didn't have his skin ruptured at all. Mahaprabhu showed it actually. He turned around and showed, you see the mark in my back. So like that. That's a different story. But the point he's so compassionate. That's what Pranesh wanted to highlight. Pure devotees are so compassionate. That's also talked in this verse, what we discussed. The word was there about compassion. They are so compassionate. Thank you, Prabhu.
And Prabhupada gives about Jesus example always.
Mm.
Jesus was, crucified.
Yes.
So that how much compassionate towards preaching.
Yes. Yeah, we discussed Jesus Christ's specific example also just before you joined. The same point of how he was so compassionate. He didn't take the offense.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Thanks for the wonderful class and a lot of stories with lot of teachings and morals like Haridas Thakur Maharaj and Lord Jesus Christ. So that is, he himself was Brahmaji, and how he came, how he came with when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was coming into with his associates. So he also came along as one of his associates to teach everyone. So really nice story to know, with wonderful moral.
Hare Krishna.
Thanks, Prabhuji.
Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare.
Okay, so it's 8:37. Maybe we'll close now. Is it okay? Okay. Thank you all very much.
So take care.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. So we'll end the session now. Hare Krishna. We'll all meet up next week. Thank you for those joining online. Hare Krishna.